Rumble and YouTube. It is your favorite Velociraptor fanboy for Sharp C, and today I am going to be going over the Pokemon team that I brought to DuranzTV's VGC Weekly Meta Tour. It made top 32. The standings have been finalized, and I placed 30th out of 156 people. And I brought a fairly different team, at least when you start looking at a lot of the teams that made it to the top 32. We see Hard Trick Room, we see Garchomp and DD Armor Rouge with Rotom Wash. I like the Drifloom. That's really cool. See some Azumarill, which has been picking up, Hydreigon, Murkrow, Goldengo, Meowscarada, Garchomp, Tyranitar, Hydreigon, Amoonguss, like a lot of meta Pokemon. Lots of meta Pokemon. Like you see Murkrow, Maushold, Annihilate, Goldengo, Armor, like lots of meta contenders and threats here. The person who ultimately won it all ran a very strong team of if we take a look at the list here, Choice Band, Terranormal, Dragonite, Life Orb, Dark, Defiant King Gambit, Choice Scarf, Annihilate, Torkoal, Maushold, and Armor Rouge. So like this was very scary because you have like a really strong Trick Room core, very strong Trick Room core with two very solid, fast offensive threats. So the person who ended up winning it all had a very strong team, but I brought a very interesting team of Focus Sash, Meowscarada, which this is a very old build. We'll go into the EV spreads in just a little bit. It's Focus Sash with Overgrow, Terra Grass with Flower Trick, Knockoff, Trick Room, and Sucker Punch. The reason being is that you can, theoretically, you could lead something like Meowscarada Salamence and have the option for both Trick Room and Tailwind. It's the same principle as the Tailwind Hydreigon Meowscarada lead, but I just replaced Hydreigon with Salamence, and I'll explain a little bit of the reasons why I ended up doing that in a little bit. Throat Spray Sylveon with Pixelate, Terra Water. We can get into that a little bit later, but with like Detect, Hyper Voice, Terra Blast, Yawn. Pretty standard set, except I'm using the Terra Water version, which I believe is picking up in usage in VGC. So I'm just picking up on the trend of what Sylveon is supposed to be doing. Then I have Jamie Boyt, which I will link the video where I got this build, but he actually made a very good video about Salazzle with Eject Pack, Oblivious, Terra Flying with Overheat, Acid Spray, Encore, and Fake Out. I brought her to almost like every single game. Salazzle was crucial to a lot of the strategies I was trying to use. Then we have Salamence. She was a last minute addition, so her build is kind of still up in the air, and I'm not even sure if I necessarily want her. But you have Bondberry to survive one dragon type attack, so that way I can potentially set up Tailwind. With Intimidate, Terra Fire, because I do run Heat Wave, just on the off chance that I don't want to bring Salazzle, but I want to bring like a fire type anyway. I guess Heat Wave was the best option that I could go with. Flamethrower was also a possibility. Then you have Goldengo with Life Orb, obviously good as gold, Terra Steel, Protect, Make It Rain, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, because I felt like I needed a little bit of water coverage just in case I went up against any rain teams. And then the last member of my team, which was another last minute addition. These two were both last minute additions that I was just messing around, like not messing around with, but I was trying to like tweak a few things here and there, trying to figure out like what's going on with my team, because I was performing very poorly in a lot of early events. So then we have a Leftovers, Inner Focus, Terra Steel with Moonlight, Snarl, Foul Play, Helping Hand. Really cool, I think. Umbreon came really clutch against the one Hard and DD Armor Rouge team that I faced, which was really kind of why I wanted to bring it. And I think theory crafting, this could also really help me play into the sand teams as well. But let's get into the actual like EV spreads for all of the Pokemon, because you already know the name, item, ability, moveset. So Meowscarada, pretty basic Meowscarada spread, just max speed, Jolly with attack because I do have the focus sash, so I don't need to invest in bulk. I don't even think you invest in bulk in Meowscarada. I think most people, even if you go with the choice band variant or choice scarf or whatever kind of variant you're going with the item, I think everyone kind of just runs like 252, 252 for in some category. They might not put it in HP, they could put it in somewhere else, but I just put it in HP because it's whatever. So for Sylveon, this EV spread is actually meant so if you were to be in Tailwind, you outspeed max speed Garchomp in Tailwind. So very versatile, just in general, because this is the, this isn't mine, obviously. I have not saved my spread into this yet, but if you just go with the 220, which I think is the optimal, yep, that's the optimal, take that out, and then you put the rest into speed, so now you're at 85. Let's just save this calc set for now. We don't do the quick attack here. We go yawn. We put on yawn pressure, which actually does come in pretty clutch sometimes, because if you can catch people with the yawn. But as you can see, here's the stat comparisons, and when you have that Tailwind button clicked, I'll move my fat head for just a little bit, but I'm highlighting 169 to 170. So you just barely outspeed Garchomp in this situation. Terra Water still gives you a resistance to steel types, which is one of the biggest types that you are going to want to go into. It also still gives you a resistance to fire types in case you want to take not very effective damage, if you want to have a resistance instead of just taking it neutrally. But it also doesn't give you a poor matchup into Garchomp, because if you go Terra Fire, well, you're risking gaining a weakness to Earthquake, but with Terra Water, it's still a neutral hit. So if you saw the damage calcs, if my head wasn't blocking it, Earthquake does at most 70%, and that usually, depending on how you're doing things, gives you an opportunity to set up Trick Room or Tailwind with Salamence, and that's not even including the potential Intimidate from Salamence if it's not a clear Amulet. So here's Jamie Boyd's EV spread. So this actually does come in very clutch, because the two key stats that you really want to know about this particular Salazzle spread is with the amount of bulk that this Salazzle has. Jamie Boyt does mention it in his video, but it has a chance to survive. It has a 37.5% chance to be O-code by an extreme speed coming off of a max attack Terrestrialized normal Dragonite. That actually did come up in one of my games, and it was one of the games that I was very proud of, despite the fact I lost, and I'll talk a little bit about why I was proud about that game, even though I lost. But what also is very important is you also, with that 212 speed to get to 180, you also outspeed Mousehold by 1. So one of the more common leads that I see is Annihilate and Salazzle, and this pairing plays very well into that, because if you lead Annihilate and Mousehold and you're the bulk up variant, not the Choice Scarf variant of Annihilate, I can either double up into the Mousehold and not really risk. I can double up into the Mousehold. The Annihilate doesn't really threaten the Salazzle with Rage Fist and Drain Punch unless it gets a bulk up, but at that point I'm already trying to book it into something else anyway. So even if you go for bulk up, you also risk getting Encored, and I can just double up into the Mousehold because both Meowscarada and Salazzle are faster than the Mousehold. So this is a really good, like, fast offensive lead that also has the potential to set up Trick Room. So the slower Pokemon in the back can actually have an opportunity to really take control of the game depending on what type of team we're going up against. But those are the two main stats that I was able to see, was the surviving the Dragonite, Terra Normal, Choice Band, as well as outspeeding Mousehold by 1. Most neutral attacks, you can probably take 1, maybe 2, if you're really lucky, neutral attacks. But Salazzle does go down very, very quickly, because obviously base 60 defenses with a base 68 HP is just not all that great. Um, then, for one of the later additions to the team, like I said, I haven't fully experimented with this build yet. I could potentially make it bulkier and give up some of the offensive pressure, depending on what I'm actually trying to go for. But Salamence does obviously bring Intimidate, which means that it can take Dragon type moves a little bit better, especially with the Habanberry. Dragon Claw is not that big of an issue. But with this 166 speed, you can outspeed, with my calc set of Salamence, you can outspeed, I don't need Tailwind, but you can outspeed Hydreigon by 1, and you can threaten a Draco Meteor. The only way that they survive it is by, let's say it's Terra Fire, you have to burn your Terra typing. But if I think you're going to burn your Terra typing, and perhaps I threaten maybe like a knockoff and a Draco Meteor, or a fake out in a Draco Meteor, or I could just fake out Tailwind, or I could go Tailwind Golden Go, or Tailwind honestly maybe Tailwind Terra Water Sylveon. That could be very scary. Or I don't even have to Terra Water Sylveon. I could just freaking Tailwind Hyper Voice, and then I still survive a Draco Meteor. If you go for Tailwind, we just match Tailwinds, and I'm still faster than you the following turn, but now you've just taken a lot of damage from the Sylveon. So that's in theory. This is kind of like my Hydreigon counter. The only thing that I might want to potentially do is, I don't want to mess with the speed at all, but maybe I want to mess with the attack and try to make it a little bit bulkier. Maybe try to find like the key matchups that I want Salamence to be able to go into. I'm thinking, at least if I continue to run the Heat Wave variant, I probably want to, at the very least, 2-shot Golden Go, 1-shot Garchomp and Hydreigon with Draco Meteor, and we'll have to see what the Assault Vest variant. But that's sort of like where my thought process is at the moment. Like, yeah, take a look at this. Like, if you go with like, this is according to this damage calculator's saved Hydreigon set. So it might not be perfect. It's but Draco Meteor with the Assault Vest Hydreigon just doesn't do enough. So it's a guaranteed 2-hit KO, but that's not including the -2 special attack drop that I have to eat. It looks like it's still a guaranteed 2-hit KO because we're at 75% at the very least, 37%. Yeah, it's a guaranteed 2-hit KO even with the -2, but maybe I could try to figure something out to make this a little bit more bulkier, especially maybe on the special side, since I do have Intimidate to sort of help with the physical bulk. So maybe just trying to optimize like a couple key matchups for special defense. Then we have a Golden Go, and this is like a really weird set. Once again, Golden Go is actually like a Pokemon that I had removed from my team. For some strange reason, it's just a very strong Pokemon. But I wanted to try to do the whole EV spreading thing, just to see like, oh, could I actually like get something to be pretty unique and decent, as well as just maximizing the damage with Goldengo. Obviously the Terra Steel Life Orb is pretty good, but this Goldengo is spec'd to almost, it's an 18.8% chance from a Life Orb Garchomp, and it's actually, if they're clear Amulet and they're not learning Life Orb, it is a guaranteed 2-hit KO on the Golden Go, and I do threaten like a very powerful Make It Rain. If I Terrastalize, there's actually a 50-50 chance that I KO, but that's assuming that I don't have a partner Pokemon. So maybe if I lead something like Salamence and Golden Go for whatever reason, I can threaten a Tailwind, get +2, that puts me at 216, which definitely outspeeds Garchomp, because this is meant to, in Tailwind, outspeed Dragapult. I guess we'll go with the Choice Band set for now. But it's meant to outspeed Dragapult. Obviously it threatens a 1-hit KO with Shadow Ball. And if I Terrasilize, it also threatens a one-hit KO with Make It Rain, assuming that there's no bulk. I know that there's a lot of different Dragapult variants running around. There's Support Dragapult, Choice Specs Dragapult. Like, as you can see, this is Choice Specs Max. It's Max Special Attack. But as you can see, like, with this amount of bulk on my Golden Go, I could potentially set up a Tailwind. I survive a Shadow Ball. The only way I think they KO, even if they Terra... Oh, that's a Terra Steel. What if they Terra Ghost? I've seen a lot more Terra Ghost. Is this really right? Is this really right? Do I really eat? I might just do... Yeah, that's honestly pretty neat. Like, with this amount of bulk, I honestly don't know how much the HP actually comes into play here. We can actually see. Actually, no, this is just a really good matchup into the Dragapult, but the main purpose was Garchomp. If we go up against Hydreigon as well, they would have to go Terra Fire, and even then it's there's not a guaranteed OHKO. There's not a whole lot that I can do, but this is actually a really cool like EV spread. Another Golden Go would probably be a better metric. I think this Golden Go gets knocked out by other Golden Goes, but once again, you're kind of relying on either like Tailwind or Trick Room to sort of carry the Golden Go away, and I'm just trying to survive that one Garchomp hit. And then we have, I just stole the stat spread from, I think, a World Championship team that came in second place at Worlds. Back, I think, in 2019. I would need to relook into the actual video that it came from, but the only difference is that this is a slightly suboptimal build for what I was trying to go for, but basically, you go Moonlight, Snarl, Foul Play, Helping Hand. Your win con for certain matchups is to just stall out with Moonlight, and you can just lay down Snarls and Foul Play, so you don't have to really care about your special attack. Snarl is more for that 100% chance to lower the opponent's special attack, really good into like Indeedee Armor Rouge, because not only is it super effective against both unless they Terrasilize, but it also lowers their special attack and makes it more difficult for them to actually kill Umbreon with Moonlight, and it also just lightens the burden on some of my other Pokemon, because maybe Golden Go survives a hit that it shouldn't, Salamence survives a hit that it shouldn't, Meowscarada survives a hit that it shouldn't, Sylveon just kind of eats all day because it's got Terra Water, so Armor Rouge, unless it Terrasilizes, but if it Terrasilizes, it loses the Fairy weakness, or the Fairy resistance, and eventually it's going to go down. Salazzle does fairly decently into, like, Grass Armor Rouge, despite the fact that if it's a Trick Room, that's when it's really bad, but at the very least, like, there's ways to play around it, and with Snarl and Foul Play, it's just a good matchup, and then Helping Hand just makes it so that, like, let's say, theoretically, I'm theory crafting a little bit, but if you go like a hard Trick Room against like Hyper Offense, and you set up something along the line of like Trick Room with Sylveon and Umbreon in the back, and you know that Umbreon and Sylveon are gonna outspeed everything that the opposing player has. Like, you can Helping Hand Hyper Voice, and then it's like getting that +1 before the Throat Spray goes off, and then it's like +2 after the Throat Spray goes off. So it's like excellent. So Umbreon's just really cool. It did only go into like one game just because I ran into a lot of Defiant Pokemon, but this was the team that I ended up bringing to this tournament, and I think it performed very, very well. And if I had played better, one of the things that I was thinking about is I need to run the calcs on this, but I was really struggling with the Lycanroc Tyranitar lead. In fact, I feel kind of bad because there was a player here. Oh, I actually play slightly better than him. Oh, because he lost in the first round of Top Cop. But here he is right here. I did lose to this guy 2-0. As you can see, this was Shepherd Gobble C. I lost 2-0 to this guy. And the reason why I lost 2-0 is because in my head, I could not figure out what the heck I was supposed to do against Tyranitar Lycanroc, because obviously, like, rock weakness, Terra Flying weakness goes down to Sand Chip, too slow, does handle things pretty well, but doesn't have anything good to pair it with. Like, okay, I can go Salazzle, but there's a rock weakness of a Sandstorm Chip. I could Fake Out and Make It Rain, but if I fake out Make It Rain, they can go Terra Ghost, and that was the thing that kept getting me, is that I kept faking out the Lycanroc when I should have been, the Tyranitar when I should have been faking out the Lycanroc, because they actually never Terra Ghost. But I'm thinking with Inner Focus Umbreon, what you can do is lead Goldengo Umbreon, because this is a slightly bulkier Goldengo, so I should be able to take an Assurance, especially an Assurance that does not have the boost to its base damage from taking a hit. So if we take a look at this, okay, I'm basically relying on not flinching, because look at that Assurance. I am still faster, so let's say that I do hit it doubled. So even if it's doubled, it's only doing 58 to 69.1%. And if we take into account the Lycanroc damage, we'll just say Endeavored Sash, Rock Slide is only doing 13. So I'm guaranteed, even if I was to say Make It Rain instead of Shadow Ball the Lycanroc, which is a guaranteed KO if I go with Umbreon Foul Play. Basically, it's not the best matchup, but yeah, it's not the best matchup, but I think it's the best way, because I just have to rely on that first Rock Slide not flinching. So I think I actually could have won this game, because I'm thinking now with what they have in the back, a really good lead that I could go was Goldengo Umbreon, and that actually does decently well into the Annihilate and the Rotom Heat as well. And then let's see here, I can bring my Dondozo counters in the back. In fact, one of my best Dondozo counters is Terra Water Sylveon with Salazzle, or just Sylveon with Salazzle in general, because then it goes pretty well into the Rotom Heat Annihilate combination, as well as the Tatsugiri Dondozo, because you can just Acid Spray Encore if they try to protect or rest or do anything that you don't want them to do. Just to stall things out, you can actually just take care of them that way. But I did end up losing to Jake the DM. It was, I kind of rage quit a little bit, and I kind of dropped a game because of it. But the reason why I was really kind of proud of myself is that if we go to the pairings, I ended up winning a very close game against Worker Bees. Game 2 actually came down to 9 HP on my Sylveon. I yawned with like 40 HP left, and he Earth Powered and only did like 30 some HP to me. And then I was able to detect and then just let the Terra Fire Gastrodon go to sleep, and I was able to two-shot it from there. And then I played against this .1Q, which he ultimately did end up winning it all, so congrats to him, GG's. But what I'm really proud of is, despite the fact that I was running a very unique team, Game 1 went his way, Game 2 went my way, and then he won Game 3. They were very close games. I think if certain things went differently, maybe I could have squeaked out this victory. But as you can see, he had a bye because he did very well in Swiss. And then you had a 2-0. 2-0. I need to scroll over a little bit, but 2-0, 2-1, 2-0. So this 0 was the only other person, to take a game off of the person who ended up winning this weekly VGC tour. So I'm actually really happy with the results that this team brought. I think that there is some optimization that I can do in terms of like maybe the Goldengo and Salamence, and I do need to play a little bit better into the Tyranitar Lycanroc, and I think I have a soft check. It's not a hard check, but it's a soft check, because Umbreon's not going to flinch, so I can guaranteed get a foul play off, and Goldengo is guaranteed to not go down to a Tyranitar double Assurance, assuming that it's the same build that we were talking about there. I need to see if maybe a max attack one does. But really satisfied with how this team performed. I'm hoping to do some optimization and tweaking, and yeah, hopefully this was somewhat of an interesting video for everyone to watch. If we want to go into a video specifically about Umbreon, we certainly can do that, but I've already been rambling for 25 minutes, so I hope to maybe go a little bit more in depth into some of the team building. I'm actually really enjoying VGC Series 1, as well as looking forward to what VGC Series 2 brings to the table. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Feel free to let me know how you feel down in the comment section below. Give me a rumble, like, and if you enjoy the content, subscribe. You can also check me out on Twitch, where I'm trying to stream a little bit more regularly. And on that note, I hope to see y'all next time.
You be the one, that pink hair and that bun. Slide up on, you know you want it. Feel that bra coming undone. Rubbing up, you think it's fun. Late rapping, you think you won. I'ma pull those pants off and throw them out until I'm done.